Hello, Internet. It is I, the Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today, we're going to be talking about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. This is an MCU movie. Do I really need to go any further than that? But I guess for the two of you out there who are somehow not in the know, let me go over it very quickly. So, MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, it has been around for 14 years. This is the 28th movie, which is crazy to think about. And this whole thing started all the way back to 2008 with the very first Iron Man movie, the one that started it all. And since then, the MCU's had a long, long, long history of success. I mean, from their solo movies to their big team up movies, like, the Avengers movies, and, even Endgame here being what at the time for a little bit the biggest movie of all time worldwide. Of course, that's been overtaken by Avatar again, but still, it was number one for a little bit, so that has to be commended. And a lot of movies have just broken just countless records. It's crazy, and especially the last MCU movie, that being Spider-Man No Way Home, was like the first movie of the pandemic era to really just decimate all predictions and just go sky high. Open with over like 260 million, making 800 million domestic, third biggest of all time, and nearly a 1.9 billion dollars. That was the last MCU movie. So, and sure, the MCU's had some duds. I guess we can call them duds, or at least underwhelmers in the grand scheme of things. With Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals. Although Shang-Chi did the best out of the three, still didn't do as great as other MCU movies. But still, the MCU, when it comes to like their track record, box office wise, it's pretty spectacular. I don't think there's a single franchise out there that's had a better track record than the MCU in terms of success. So, yeah, MCU pro, automatic pro. Another pro is that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is obviously a sequel to Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange here came out all the way back in 2016. Um, and with this movie, some viewed it as a bit of a risk because Doctor Strange was, well, he was known, but he wasn't like as mainstream as, say, Iron Man or Captain America or Thor or Hulk. He's more of like a C-list character. But his movie, his first outing, did quite well. Made well over 600 million worldwide. It was well received, and yeah, it was a big hit. And people liked him. And the thing is, they couldn't make a Doctor Strange 2 immediately because there were several movies they had to make first. Like Infinity War and Endgame. But Doctor Strange was a big player in Infinity War. He was one of the MVPs of that movie, and it got even more people to like him. And then, especially with No Way Home, Doctor Strange was essentially like the co star of that movie. Without him, the plot for that movie never would have happened. He's that crucial to the plot. And it helps that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness takes place immediately after No Way Home. So I imagine everyone who saw No Way Home, who saw Doctor Strange, was just like, actually, remember the trailer for Doctor Strange 2 was the after credit scene for No Way Home, which was a low key brilliant move. So anyone who watched No Way Home saw that trailer and was like, "Ooh, Doctor Strange is going on more adventures. I can't wait to see that." And now here we are. So yeah, so second pro is Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, sequel to Doctor Strange. Original was big hit, well received, and Doctor Strange's I guess his worth has only increased since then, thanks to his roles in Infinity War and No Way Home. So yeah, that's a pro, big pro. Let's see, another pro for Doctor Strange. Well, I'm just gonna call it Doctor Strange 2 because Multiverse of Madness. That's a mouthful. Another pro is that this is the first Marvel movie in several years to debut on that classic first weekend of May, a date that's been made famous by Marvel movies. Hell, since like the first Spider-Man movie 20 years ago. Yeah, that first Spider-Man movie, that changed everything. It really did. It changed superhero movies, it changed summer blockbusters. It did a lot. And it's important to mention this because there's a link between Doctor Strange 2 and the first Spider-Man movie. Want to know what that link is? They're both directed by Sam Raimi. So, craziness, right? And hell, Sam Raimi's last superhero movie was Spider-Man 3, which also opened the first weekend of May and came out 15 years ago. So again, that's some wild coincidences. But yeah, that first weekend of May, Marvel has owned that weekend for a long time, even before the MCU. With the first Spider-Man movie, X-Men 2, Spider-Man 3, and then we're off to the MCU debut with Iron Man, then X-Men Origins Wolverine, Iron Man 2, Thor, First Avengers, Iron Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2, then Avengers 2, then Civil War, and then Guardians 2. And in 2018 and 19, it was a little weird because Infinity War and Endgame were supposed to open the first week of May. That was the initial plan, but they changed it and they opened a week earlier, the last week of April, mainly as like a strategic move so you could have like a massive worldwide opening, because originally Marvel movies, they used to open overseas first and then domestically, but for these they're just like, nah, let's open it all at once just so we can get a massive number. And that's what happened with Infinity War and Endgame. But you can still argue they still started the summer movie season. You can say, oh, they started a week early. But yeah, so first weekend of May, or at least if you want to count, well, just the start of summer. Let's just say that. Start of summer has been owned by Marvel. And we know the last 2 years that wasn't the case because of COVID. But this year, we're going back to that. And that's an automatic pro. First weekend of May. It's a very important date, a very important weekend for Marvel movies. It's the date Marvel movies made famous. So that's a pro. First weekend of May release. Another pro, reviews are pretty good. They're not great. Last I checked, like it's 77%, which isn't terrible by any means. I mean, it's not great, but it's still solid, and its audience score is also pretty solid, like 89%. That's pretty decent. So word of mouth overall seems to be good. So how can that be a con? So good reviews, good word of mouth. I would consider that a pro. Another pro, this movie has been pushed so hard, obviously. you know, Pretty sure everyone knows this movie exists because obviously Marvel, they push their movies very hard. They're very aggressive with their marketing. And this the same thing here. So yeah, just big old marketing campaign pro. Another pro is its Thursday box office. It's quite spectacular already. It opened with 36 million last night for its previews. If you want to know how big that is, that's the 8th biggest preview number in history. Yeah, in history of all time. The movies that did better for their previews are Infinity War, Rise of Skywalker, Deathly Hallows Part 2, Last Jedi, No Way Home, Force Awakens, and Endgame. So this movie is in some serious territory here. Big money territory already out the gate. So, yeah, and I haven't even mentioned overseas. In 2 days, it's made like 85 million. And like the weekend hasn't even started yet. So right away, that paints a picture that this movie is going to be a massive, massive hit. So Yeah, Thursday box office being the eighth biggest of all time, strong overseas numbers, pro, automatic pro. Like nothing more to say about that. Another pro is the competition, which means like there's none. There's nothing. I mean, this is one of those situations where like every movie that comes out before this is going to get hurt very badly. We're already seeing that. Not all the numbers are here, but you already just it really paints a picture. Look at these Thursday declines: 19%, 30, 23, 34, 37, 47, 59. These really paint a picture that Doctor Strange 2 is going to decimate everything in its path. And what's better is that there's no legitimate competition until Memorial Day with Top Gun Maverick. So this movie has 3 weeks, 3 solid weeks to itself. Sure, there's Firestarter. Sure, there's Down Abbey 2. I don't think they're going to make a dent into Doctor Strange 2's box office. Top Gun Maverick will, but that's not till the end of the month. So Doctor Strange 2 has plenty of time to make a ton of money and make $1 billion because it will make $1 billion at the rate it's going. It's guaranteed. So, yeah, just no competition in sight for a while. That's a big pro. Um, what else? I mean, I guess I can mention Scarlet Witch here. Wanda Maximoff. You know, her. Her worth has definitely gone up since like Avengers 2. She had a standout moment in Infinity War, and then the show WandaVision on Disney Plus. That was a big hit, and so this it plays off of that. This movie plays off several different things. The first Doctor Strange, the aftermath of No Way Home, to an extent, because I have seen the movie, and it's not as connected as you would think, but it definitely takes place after it. And well, actually, Spider-Man's barely even mentioned in the movie, but it still takes place. It's the next MCU movie after that, and then with WandaVision on Disney Plus. So a lot going on here. It's one of those situations where, like, if you haven't seen any of these movies, you're going to be or shows, you're going to be very confused, which could be an issue. I mean, it's kind of an issue if you've seen like, if you manage to like, if you're like, okay, I'm going to watch Infinity War and nothing else, you are going to be so lost. Same goes for like Endgame. Like like you really got to be in the MCU to really understand anything. And most people are all in on the MCU, so it won't be too much of a problem. But yeah, Wanda or Scarlet Witch, her characters become like more popular because of the MCU. So yeah, having her as the antagonist here is a pro, I'd say. You know, so that's a pro. Cons, there's none. There's none. I can't think of anything that would stop this movie. Nothing will stop this movie at the rate it's going. So why even mention cons? You can't even mention like pandemic anymore. There's no point. We've had enough big hits in the past few months to say, oh, pandemic. If the movie's like big enough, if it's something people want to watch, then people will watch it no matter what. We saw that with No Way Home. We saw that with the Batman. Hell, we saw it with Sonic 2. So, yeah, same thing applies here. So yeah, I literally can't think of any cons for this movie. So opening weekend, at the rate it's going with that 36 million preview number, let's look at our comparisons here. Okay. So the 7 movies that come before it, Infinity War, that opened with 257. Rise of Skywalker 177. Deathly Hallows 169. Last Jedi 220. No Way Home 260. Force Awakens 247. Endgame 357. Okay. I don't think it will be as front loaded as the Star Wars sequel movies, the sequel trilogy. That I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think it'll be as front loaded as No Way Home either. That was also very front loaded. but I can see it being on the same level as, say, um, Endgame. Maybe if it's really lucky, it's on the same level as Infinity War. But I think an Endgame like multiple will happen, which means its opening weekend will go past 200 million. I believe. I think that's definitely achievable now. So it's definitely going to be front loaded. At least its opening weekend's going to be front loaded because that's how a lot of these MCU movies play out nowadays. So I'm going to say it's going to open between 200 and 220. I think that's reasonable enough. I think that's fair enough. So for like opening weekends period, where would that lead? Where would it I'm not sure where it would land there. I guess I'll check. Da 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 da. Biggest opening weekend. I gotta find it. I'm using the Batman as a comparison. Biggest domestic weekend. Okay. It would land possibly in the top 5 or 6. So somewhere in between Black Panther and Last Jedi. I think it will land in between there, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did better. But that's what I'm sticking with. So yeah, and its total, I think over 500 million is achievable. I definitely think so. Yeah, I'm thinking over 500 million. Depends like how super front loaded it is, but I think over 500 million is achievable, and it should make $1 billion easy. So yeah, yeah, Doctor Strange too, and this will more than likely be the biggest movie of the year. I don't see any movie topping it. I mean, should we have a bunch of big movies coming out in the future? Top Gun Maverick, Jurassic World Dominion, Lightyear, Minions 2, Thor Love and Thunder, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Avatar 2. I imagine those all should be big hits, but I don't think any movie's gonna top this. I don't see it happening. So yeah, I think we've reached a peak when it comes to box office for this year, and I'd be shocked if we didn't. But yeah, so that's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and that's the only movie I'm talking about this weekend because why would any movie go up against something like this? That'd be very dumb. It wouldn't work out. So yeah, so that's it for this weekend. Next weekend, I know I have to do Firestarter, which is another theatrical Peacock hybrid movie. I thought I was going to do Family Camp. I'm not too sure anymore. I guess we'll see. But Firestarter is guaranteed. So stay tuned for that. And then the next weekend after that, there's Down Abbey and New Era. I don't know about Men. That might be wide. I'm not sure. We'll see about that. But Down Abbey 2, I know is guaranteed. And then the end of the month, Bob's Burgers, the movies. Bob's Burgers, the movie. The Bob's Burgers movies. Ugh. And Top Gun Maverick. Those are definitely wide. So yeah, so that's what the whole month of May looks like. It's definitely light in terms of quantity, but I think it will make up in terms of pure box office, mainly because of Doctor Strange 2. So yeah. Yeah, so anywho, yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? Got a playlist on the homepage with all previous prediction videos I made this year. You know, for all the big movies that have come out this year, they're no doubt gonna. This movie's gonna destroy all of them, like the Batman, Sonic 2, and Uncharted. Those are like the biggest ones so far. So if you want to know my predictions on those, you can go right ahead, watch those, and all the others I've done this year. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I only covered Doctor Strange 2 a few times because thing is the initial release date for this movie was like May of 2021, and then it got moved to like November, and then it got moved to March, and then like in October it got moved to May, which is where it is now. And I think I've only covered it really twice on the channel. At least I put it in the thumbnail twice. I think those episodes. I know it was like episode 8 and it's in the 80s. I don't know the exact number. It's in the 80s. It's grouped in with Thor: Love and Thunder and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever and Indiana Jones 5 and Ant-Man 3 and The Marvels. It's that video. You should find it pretty easily. So, if you want to watch those episodes or any other canceled episodes I've done, all 124 episodes at this point, watch them all in order, binge it, go right ahead. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. I just did April recap yesterday. May recap will come out first few days of June. So within like the first few days of June, it should come out then. So stay tuned for that. And also watch the April recap. That was real interesting. So I would suggest you watch that. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I've done on the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.